Hi everyone, welcome to Python Osmosis, episode 15, the screencast that brings you a quick injection of Python learning for your enjoyment. I'm Ryan Shea, and in this episode we'll be talking about more on lists. We've talked about how to create a list and shown you a couple of different methods, but I want to run through probably all of the most important methods that you'll use with a list type. So let's start out by creating a list. Let's call them listy, and remember, square braces. 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll just have 4 items in that list. So the most common thing you may end up doing with a list is adding something on to the end of it. And we've actually seen this before. Listy.append is the method, and onto the end of that we're going to put a number, 5. Okay? You can just type listy to see the list again, and you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It did exactly what we thought. It appended 5 onto the end of the list. But let's say you had another list. For example, list2 equals 6, 7. All right, and we want to join these two together. We want to extend the first list with the second list. So listy.extend, and we're going to send onto that list2. Okay? And it did just what we thought. It extended on the list onto listy, list2. Now, we didn't need to separate that out and create a second list. We could have just extended in line. You just use the square braces and you have an anonymous list in here. So then I could just have 8, 9 in here. And as you see, we have 1 through 9 there. Okay, insert is another important method to the list type. So we can insert something at the beginning or the middle or just about anywhere in the list simply by specifying where we'd like to insert. In this case, we'll do 0 at the 0th position of this list, which happens to be 1 right now. Before that, I want to put in a value. I'm going to put in 0. And then look at listy again, and yes, before item 0, we put in a new item, which was 0. To make this more clear, let me put something in somewhere else. Insert, let's go before 2, we want to have a 1.5. So before item 2, I want to put in 1.5. And there you have it. Now, this list is a little bit sloppy now because it was all integers before, and now we have a float value in there. Let's say we wanted to remove that. You actually have a method called remove on lists. You just simply specify which item you'd like to remove by its name. In this case, 1.5. We're going to put in there. If you had, it doesn't matter where it is in the list, it'll remove the first instance of that. So if I had a string or a list or whatever, it'll remove it. And as you see, it's gone. One thing in IPython that's interesting is you can just type tab, and tab will actually give you a list of all the attributes that go along with this object. All of the underscore objects are not meant to be accessed directly, but you see append, count, extend, index, insert. So this is a really great way if you're trying to learn. Go into IPython and use the tab key to see what methods an object offers. So let's say we wanted to, again, here's our list, we wanted to figure out what index, where in this list 4 was located. So we can type listy.index 4. Where is that in the list? And it happens to be at element 4 of this list. No surprise. Some of you may be familiar with popping off things from a list. Python has that as well. If you just pop, it will pull the last item off of the list and return it. So it modifies the list, taking the last item off, and just returns that item. So 9 is what was returned from pop, and now you see that 9 is gone from the list. Often you're going to set that equal to a variable. So now you have that contained in var, and it's popped off the end of listy. So let's do listy.insert at before position 7. We'll put another 4 in here. And as you see, we have 2 different 4s. There is a function called count, listy.count, and that'll tell you how many times something exists in a list. So 4 exists 2 times in the list listy. Now, this is no longer in order. So there's a function called sort. We've talked about that. And this will just use the CMP to compare the list. So if we look, listy, now those 2 4s are brought together. It shuffled around the list for us. It modified it in line. One way of reversing this list is you can specify reverse equals true, and now you see the list is reversed. But the list type actually has a method called reverse that you can see right there. Again, this modifies in line, and you see we've reverted back. Now we're sorted. We have our 2 4s, starting 0, ending with 7. That's all for now. This screencast is directly inspired by the official Python tutorial by Guido van Rossum at python.org.